on that last lap in that turn the same thing you've done for the previous 15, 20 laps. Didn't do anything different.
Absolutely.
The thing that he did different was just to bonsai in the corner and say, well, I'm going to take a shot, checkers or wreckers. That's the problem I have with it. And that's not a slide job. That's not good racing. And, I mean, honestly, I would have felt probably exactly how you did in the same situation, because the person that did something different, really different, was the other car.
Yeah.
You
know what's crazy about it? And this is what I understand it, but it's split right down the middle.
It is, and
some people,
you have some.
I listen to them, and they say, that's good, hard, aggressive racing. But then you look at my generation, my old school. My deal is the last ditch effort to win the race with contact is out.
Yeah, is not racing.
I grew up around, you know what I mean? I love watching. I mean, you'd watch a lot of these super late model big shows back east, and even some of these modifieds, and we watch some of the stuff at Vegas, and you see some really awesome. Same way at Boone, you see some really awesome slide jobs, but they're slide jobs that they give the guy that they're sliding enough room to turn back underneath him, and usually that guy will turn back underneath him and race down the straightaway, and they'll swap it around, and those guys get out laughing and carrying on, saying that was awesome. The thing that happened to me, honestly, and I thought about the next morning, it startled me. It caught me off guard. It never entered my mind, because I knew there was no way there was enough room to make that corner underneath me. And I didn't even think about, somebody might drive in there and make contact. I would say it's because I haven't been in the competition end of it with me driving. And I was so focused on being smooth and not making a mistake, I wasn't thinking about somebody doing what Robbie done. And the thing that really, people comment about it didn't look. Well, what happened is the instant that he went into the corner and was coming up to me, the back of his car was coming into my driver's window. A lot of people say, "Oh, it looked like he better hit you." Well, look at where I got hit. I got hit right in the very front of my door,
right,
with his right rear quarter panel, with his car coming towards me backwards. So I'm looking at his back bumper and fuel cell through the side of my door. And when he done it, you can't tell that much, but I actually tried to turn away from him. I turned the steering wheel instantly, and it was just a startle. So I kind of jerked the steering wheel back away, and I was really, really blown away. I said, "You serious?" Because
are you sure? Are you sure those were the words that you used?
No, it was. It was.
He did say that in his interview. He did.
Yeah.
Really. And then it kind of knocked me up enough. It wrinkled the front of my car. It hit my tire, jerked the steering a little bit. I didn't wreck. I kept control of the car and went down the back straightaway. Well, as I'm driving into the corner, I get right up to him, and something tells me, don't. Because people said, "Why didn't you get into him? Why didn't you turn him?" Because I don't want to race that way. I don't want to win that way.
So
and I don't have to win that way, and I'm not going to win that way no more. You know what I mean? That's just me. I may lose a few because of it, but
so I have two questions. I have two questions and stuff for you now. So the first question is, and this is kind of a debatable type deal, is back in old school days where we used to race open motors. Now everything has gone to this crate deal. It's all basically there's no everybody's kind of equal. I mean, there's no throttle control. There's, there really isn't. Everybody's all stuck together. Like you're talking about pissed off bees, in the middle of a pack. You can't go nowhere. Until somebody screws up, you can't go nowhere. I want your opinion on that. My next question is you can answer this anyway, and we're getting a lot of text messages in and stuff like that saying, Scott's going to kick your butt. But my question and stuff is that understanding being frustrated in having that, quote, slide job that he calls it, going down the backstretch and running into him. Frustration? Was it just to tell him, hey, look, you're not going to do this to me again? What was that about?
That's me just losing my cool, and that's actually me being good losing my cool.
That outlaw Jesse James didn't come out, huh? That was Bullwinkle.
You know what, though? I mean, seriously, that being said, I know 100 guys in that situation that would have done exactly what
Oh,
Scott
absolutely.
did. And I know
Absolutely.
100 guys that wouldn't. It's just one of those deals where, honestly, I would have put a bumper on him. I mean, I had that happen, and here's my thing too. Another problem I had, it was seriously when the guy did it, the last lap. If that would have happened on lap 15, it might not have been as big of a deal.
You'd had a little bit of time to. Yeah, you'd
Right.
had a little
It
bit of
wouldn't
time
have
to
been.
cool
It
down.
wouldn't have been no deal.
Right.
You know what? That's the whole thing. I would have dealt with it tremendously better if it would have been in the middle of the race and he'd done that. Because then, not saying I'd go in there and wreck him, because I wouldn't. I'd go in there and I'd do what I had to do to try to win the race. I would maybe be a little more aggressive with him, because I'm the old school, same way my son and a number of people that race that have contacted me is, I race people how they race me. If they want to be clean, race door to door and put on a show, whatever. If they be aggressive with me, they lean on me, I lean on you. And that's just kind of old school. But
So
Well, it's that driver
the thing that
code.
really upset me the most is he could not beat me laps. He had 24 laps, and he
Right.
was in second and went back to third. He had 15 laps that he ran behind me that he had a chance to get up to me and try to race me door to door and put on a show for the people in the stands as a true race. That's the thing that bothers me the most. And I made that comment. It blows me away that it's, checkers are wreckers, and I hate that. You know what I mean? I'm not that way. People say, the old Scott Pounds, you were aggressive. I said, yeah, I was aggressive, and I won a lot of races, and I raced them, and I may be the one that would put in between two cars running side by side, and I'd work my way through them, but I would never go on the last lap when I had that much time to try to beat somebody and say it's worth it. Just the comment that I made, he's the one that has to live with himself. If he's happy and thinks he accomplished something by doing that, that's the difference between me and him, because I would be embarrassed. That's just the way it is. I don't want to win a race that way. I want to win races by my skill and my talent and my ability, not because I could go in there and move somebody out of the way. I mean, and that's another one. It's 50-50. Some people say, hey, I show up and win, and I'm going to win at all costs. Well, that's your prerogative. And if that's your outlook on racing, that's not mine.
So do you think the crate motor stuff, or whatever like that has gotten to the point of desperation?
Has it
created
created that
really
style?
It really surprising to me, because I hot lapped Brad's car like one time right when we first got it, whatever, and first thing I said, I mean, those things are just gutless, because we were so used to the big power plants, 600 plus horsepower deals, and then I made a few laps of his, and I thought, oh my God, I don't think I'd like that. But what it's done is it's backed up the domination and caught up your mid-pack guys. So yeah, it's closed in your top 15. But what I've seen happen more now is that technology has improved so much on these chassis, shocks, packages, that you're still going to get your 3 or 4 that separate from the field.
Hey, Scott,
But your mid-pack guys are tighter.
Right. I see. Yeah. It's a product of the rules package given to the drivers by MCA. And I'll agree with that strongly. Absolutely.
No, I completely agree with that, too. Working on Matthew's car, crew chiefing on it, we switched from the open motor into the crate, and that caught us up immensely. I mean, we were coming forward, but once we put that 604 in that car, it was a whole world of difference.
Scott, that's Joel Imamura. He's the crew chief for Matthew Drager up here in the Northwest, and he wanted to talk to you about something here real quick.
So, Scott, I'm sitting here looking at my laps on the lap times, and I agree with you. He didn't have anything for you. Excluding the first 6 laps, you were faster than him, with the exception of 6 more spread out laps through the remainder of the field. At the end there, those last 2 laps that you ran with Sawyer, have you looked at this yet, by chance?
No, I haven't.
Those last 2 laps, you still beat him going around the track.
Lap time wise,
on lap 24, you were 0.366 back from him, and on lap 25, that last lap with this slide job, if we'll call it that, you finished with a lap time of 0.442.
so he was still 4
Pretty much
tenths.
the story, don't it?
You're
Yeah.
still almost close to a half a second faster
Faster than him.
than him, and having to come up and do a slide job. or a bonsai move, basically.
See, and that was the whole thing that I had the issue with was, it wasn't that a guy was, clearly had a legit shot at a slide job. It was he drove that car as a desperate act into the final turn, slid up into your groove, hit the car, moved you outside the cushion, and then drove away with the win, which to me is, it's one thing if you race a guy, like we said, door to door, or you have a legitimate, shot at a real slide job, but to make a move out of desperation like that, to me, that's just not racing.
Now, have you actually watched the video of that race or heard that video?
Me?
Yeah.
I've watched 3 different videos from three different angles.
Okay, so I'm going to play this here real quick, and this is going to be actually getting another phone call.
Tell them to call right back.
Yeah, I don't know who it is.
In that. There you go.
Okay, so
They might be calling me. Are they calling you?
no, yeah, they're calling.
get over it.
No, they're no, they're calling into the studio and stuff. But I want to play this real quick for you. Let me know. This is from Low Budget TV.
Well, all he's going to hear is the audio.
Right.
For the win. 3 laps to go. Childress is up to the 6th position. Holder is still back in 9th. Look at Childress working his way right about Nolan.
See, now right there, it's still a car and a half.
So we're at 2 laps to go, and he is literally almost still 3 cars back from you.
Right.
And so let's kind of forward this here to almost the incident and listen to the commentary. This is kind of where he comes into almost to the back on the last lap.
Flag is flying. 1 lap to go. Sawyer dives to the inside and throws it in hard. Contact with Pounds. Robbie Sawyer's taking the spot away. Pounds is going to have none of it. Shoves Sawyer through the turn. Robbie Sawyer on turn number 4 is going to take the victory.
So right there, it shows like what you just talked about. He came up, hit you. You turned up, almost going towards the backstretch wall. It got back underneath him into the left, where to the left rear where that bumper is. Let him go. Realistically, you could have took him out if you wanted to.
Well, that's the move of the night, not taking him out.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I had enough time to think about that. I went down the back straightaway and kind of a little in shock. And I actually, to tell you the truth, and I really appreciate the gentleman that was talking about the lap times and
That's Joel.
and yeah, me having the faster laps, because that means a lot to me. Where I felt I was so much better, and you watch all the videos, is actually from the middle of 2 out down the back straightaway. And that's why I was being a little bit easy in the corner, because I was so good. And everybody commented, even Rob Sanders that drove the 11 car and ran second and ended up finishing 3rd, said nobody had anything for you from the middle of 2 all the way down the back straightaway where it got stuck. He said, because even when Robbie got by him and he followed me, he said, that's where your car was so good. And I said, that's because I was giving up a little bit getting in, so I would have that run down the back straightaway. And that's when I talk about concentrating on what I'm doing in the driver's seat. You know what I mean? And that little window that I left of rolling out of the follow early, even though I had a faster lap, that was his shot.
That's exactly
You know
what it
what I
was.
Well,
And
go ahead, Scott.
I second guess myself. But here I am thinking I'm giving the lane. I know it's kind of funny how some people look at it. I'm thinking I'm giving him a lane. I'm not going to run in the middle of the track. I'm not going to block the bottom, block the top. Because if somebody gets in the back, and I said this in other interviews, if I had dropped down to the bottom and then he hit me in the back and I spun around, I would have felt I gave it. That was me.
Right.
But I ran the exact same line I did for 20 laps
Right.
straight, and I thought about it. When I took the white flag, I said, protect or do what I'm doing. And I just rolled into what I'm doing. And that was his choice. And he done what he done.
So here,
And even after he took the checker flag, when I went up to him and I was going to kind of bump him, this is another thing. It's not no excuse, whatever. I was going to kind of bump him in the back, but believe it or not, he kind of let off the gas right at the same time, like he was just rolling out. Right at the same time I got there, and I kind of hit him, bumped up on him, and I thought,